Well, morning. Trump threatens a 25% tariff to Europe and the UK, or anyone who's likely to be, discouraging him from buying Greenland, one or the other. And this is becoming something that European leaders are not likely to be taken for granted. Well, leaders like Macron called it tariffs threatened unacceptable. And UK Stammer called it it's wrong to hit allies. In simple terms, what we're trying to understand here is that we are looking where the Westerns are having a division, one or the other. That's almost where we're questioning the future of NATO, one or the other. We are questioning ourselves, where is NATO heading to? In a situation where having the Ukraine-Russia war, because this has not showed a guarantee of ending a war and hasn't yet spiked any way of kind of showing that there is any kind of stopping. Because the way we have been seeing Trump has been seen allying himself with the Russian one or the other in the short terms, because we have been seeing Trump telling Zelensky one or the other to be finding ways to accept the terms Russia is asking for, and the other way around, the UK or the Europe has been always behind Zelensky, telling him like not to stop and to be continuing like hitting hard in one or the other. However, ever since Trump decided to come up and say that in good or bad he needs to have Greenland under like the 51 state under the US, well, many European leaders found that offensive and found it in one or the other truly remarkably wrong. Like, you don't know, we are seeing a division in the West, and we would be saying China is in the corner laughing or making a hand clap. One or the other should try to understand that Trump has did his level best to keep our relationship with Russia, or relationship with China, to be not invading into the Europe or the UK. However, his moves are trying to buy Greenland. I like he gonna be sentencing countries like Europe and the UK to be joining or making new global trades with China. You should try to understand that such a move means one or two things. It means that, for example, we're gonna see Canada. Well, Canada revised its tariffs with China and moved almost 100% tariffs to be negotiated back to the average tariffs, one or the other. This shows division in markets. This shows diversifying markets, one or the other. This shows a behavior that we like it or not to believe, so that US in one or the other, it could be like shooting a bullet in itself in one or the other. We are seeing that the US is also like to be shooting a bullet in itself in one or the other. It shows that it's losing global hegemony in one or the other. Yes, militarily is strong. That's why today it's the leader of NATO in one or the other. That's why today Europe is relying on US to be its ally one or the other, because they rely on US because they know that they cannot fight Russia without the US. However, the way terms and conditions have been going around, this shows that Europe, one or the other, has been sleeping on its military grounds. And anyone condemning it in one or the other is going to be facing a 25% tariff. We should try to understand how impactful this could be in economic way. Let's say one early morning, Europe, well, then they say when you push a nose harder more and more, you could make it bring blood. Let's say Europe uses a financial weapon to sell its US treasuries. You should try to understand that Europe today holds almost 3.6 trillion US dollars in US treasuries. If it wake up to one element and says that we are dumping US treasuries, we should try to understand that US is in a position where we shouldn't say like it's economically doing well. US is facing a debt of almost 38 trillion US dollars, one or the other. US is actually annually on interest rates, it's over servicing it with almost $1 trillion in debt. US has as of this year, yes, added almost $1.5 trillion in budget in its military force, one or the other. We should try to understand that Trump is like getting ready for a war, but we're not sure who exactly. Is it Europe or China? Regardless who we're asking for, but Trump trying to fight his allies, well, some of the Republicans call it foolish or shameful. We should all try to understand that Trump ideology is like why he's asking for Greenland, the Arctic, one or the other. Well, that Arctic is full of rare earth minerals, because Trump is all about drilling. And we should also try to understand that one of the major reasons why Trump is going for Greenland, because he feels like he can, is because he feels like Europe cannot go maybe the other way opposite, because they know they need him one or the other to support Ukraine. But you should also try to understand that the hegemony that he's influencing right now could be effective for the US economy, at least for the next 15 years, because the relationship between Ukraine, the relationship between Europe and the US, well, is falling. Plus the UK actually is falling up. It's heading for a direction that's never been seen before. It's heading for an era where we have never seen such things. For example, I'm just going to give you a few samples of data. Just for example, let's say Europe works up on alimony and they're saying that we are dumping half of our US treasuries. Out of the 3.6 trillion US dollars, we should try to understand that Europe alone is holding almost 30 to 40% US foreign treasuries. If they wake up one early morning, they say that we are dumping the US treasury, because if this kind of a war continues, if this kind of pulling ropes one way or the other, left and right, against Greenland continues, and US still continues, and Trump continues the way he feels like he needs Greenland, and he pushes it to that kind of extent, and Europeans are not ready to accept it, they will find themselves, let's say, dumping US treasuries in one or the other. Let's say they drop this kind of treasuries in one or the other. Expect what we'll be saying. Bond prices may drop one or the other. You should expect interest rates spiking. Yields will go high. The 10-year will spike for almost 2 or 3% more. That may not feel like something big, but it's big and really impactful for people who are holding loans, mortgages in one or the other in the US. This will also be impactful for Europe in one or the other, because we have to understand citizens of the US and Europe are the people who are getting impacted in these trade wars, are the people getting impacted in these financial weapons that they are getting weaponized one or the other. You should also try to understand that it's me and you who's getting more impacted, not the people in power actually. Yes, they do get impacted, but their percentage of getting impacted not the same of me and you. Europe works up on alimony and they be like, okay, we are done with the US, we are dumping our treasury bonds. It remarks one or two things. It remarks maybe the end of NATO one or the other. It remarks because if this kind of war continues, if this kind of relationship continues, expect to see European members to be, it may not be right now, but in the future, in the next coming years, forming up new organizations of force, because maybe they have learned it the hard way. Having US as an ally could be the other way around. Maybe he's not like a reliable ally as he used to be. Maybe he's overusing the leverage he's having today, because he feels like he can use the tariffs to be leveraging against the rest of everyone. We should also try to understand, if Europe works up on alimony, I feel like it's going to be dumping its treasury bonds. One or the other should try to understand that the borrowing costs for the US government are going to be rising hard. If Trump was promising to end the US debt, that's going to be a dream. Because, trust me, if Europe just wakes up on alimony, because these are allies, we are not speaking of China. China has been dropping bonds. Actually, China was the biggest holder of bonds. Today is Japan. And Japan's economy is also shrinking. One or the other, if Japan also implements more attractive treasury bonds, and one or the other, we should also try to understand that this will also make US treasury to be in trouble. However, they have the faith that they can print money anytime. They know they can export inflation to the rest of the world. But imagine if we reach an era when the Europe and imagine if the Europe works up one at the morning and accept the digital yuan, because one of the major reasons why Trump attacked Venezuela, because Venezuela had one of the major reasons why Iran, Venezuela, such countries that were sanctioned by the US, were adopting the digital yuan, and the digital yuan has been really doing massively. In fact, for 2025, it gained popularity of almost 35%. It has been doing way better. It is one of the major reasons why dollarization has been rising in such countries. And it has been killing the petrodollar from one or the other. That's why today the US ran very fast to hit down Venezuela, well, taking out Maduro for other, so that it makes sure that the petrodollar is safe. We should try to understand there's a war between China and the US And trade wars, if you're trying to understand how bad trade wars are, they're the most impactful wars actually. We should try to understand that the relationship between Europe and the US is shrinking. It's likely actually not to be coming back. They could be holding it for now because right now they need one another against Russia and China. But if Trump tries to play such keys, he's going to be losing that kind of diplomacy in the face of Europe and the UK. We should try to understand that such a behavior means one or two things. It means that where we are heading to, expect funny deals when they start showing up. Don't be surprised when you see Europe trying to align itself with China. Don't be surprised when you wake up on early morning. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but the relationship ties between China and the US are shrinking. Today we are seeing UK and France, Germany actually, they are sending their armies into Greenland as a way showing that the US shouldn't be crossing one or the other. Imagine if they start fighting, what will be happening for the global economy? What will happen to the US treasuries? Because today also the US treasuries are shrinking and not really doing that best. Yes, by the month of November 2025, well, we saw the biggest run to safe havens. You should also try to understand that safe havens will no longer be safe havens. It's just like Moody shrinking the safety for the US treasuries. These treasuries are likely to be revised again. Expected them to be at least today they are no longer the AAA. Today they are under the double A. Very soon, if such relationship with Europe shrink, expect the Moody ratings to be getting down one or the other, or to be lowered. Otherwise, thank you for watching. See you in the next one.